Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great, what is today? Oh, shoot, I forgot to put my, sorry, guys, forgot to put my earpiece in. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great day to start over again. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. This is Thursday. Guys, this is Coach Bill with Weight Loss Made Easy Solution. It's, like I said, it's Thursday morning, and today's topic is going to be on explaining what ketone strips are and why I use them, and what a GKI monitoring is and why I use that once we go to the second level. Now, guys, this is going to be a training video or a training module for my clients who are doing my Weight Loss Made Easy Solution weight loss program, because there seems to be a little bit of confusion on the ketone strips and how to read them, and then why we go into using a GKI reading, which is a blood test reading on your glucose and ketones in your body to monitor if we're actually burning fat. You guys that follow me, or you guys that are doing my program, know how important these readings are for me to move you on to the next levels to get the results you want to get in a timely manner. These readings will set the pace on where you're at, and to be able to make sure that you're eating enough fat at your meals, or maybe you're eating too much fat, or maybe you're eating too much protein. The ketone strips and the GKI reading will tell me that too. So, but there seems to be some confusion on how to read them, and on the ketone strips especially, what the colors mean, and why I say, I'm hoping to see that the colors start to get less and less. See, on the ketone strips, you have a color chart, and it goes from pale to a slight pink to a darker pink to a purple color. And as you start producing more and more ketones, those strips get darker and darker and darker. Now, first of all, the ketone strips is just a way to monitor the ones for the beginners, those of you that are just starting out into my weight loss program, to give me an idea of when you actually are going to start producing ketones. Now, the idea here, guys, is that we want to produce ketones, which is produced by the liver, and get away from the carbohydrates. See, that's why I put you on the beginner's primal eating high good fat protocol, which means you're going to be eating 75% higher good fats, 20% moderate protein, and 5% carbs, which all your carbs are going to come from your veggies. I'm trying to get your body to get out of that fuel source of the sugar and glucose from the high carb meals you've been eating for decades. We're trying to switch the body in a very easy step to burning more fat, because that's where we want to get to. Because right now what's happening is that you guys that have been on a high carb diet, or you're over 20 grams a day, you are not even dipping into your own stored body fat, and that's the issue. That's the issue why you're not losing weight, or that's the issue why you can't lose the last 10 pounds, because you're actually not dipping into your own body fat as the main source of fuel. So the bottom line is, try to get you out of burning glucose as your main source of fuel, walk you through the steps, and then start getting your body to burn fat. That's the object. That's the whole object, and that's how our ancestors lived, okay? And that's how you're going to end up losing that belly fat, or that hip fat, or that butt fat, or whatever you want to call it. But first we got to get your body adapted to burning it, and you just can't jump into it cold turkey. You got to do it step by step. So when I tell my clients or tell you to do a ketone strip at certain times of the day, it's very important that I can see what's going on. And so when you first start off, you're going to notice that on your ketone strips on the color chart, when you compare the strip to the color chart on the container, that you might not be, you might be at a neutral color. And that's because it's normal, because your body is not used to burning fat. And so you may go a day or so, or three days, maybe a week, depends on you, and if you're following the protocol, the meals that I've given you to a T, then you should start seeing, as the days go on, your color is going to get a little darker, a little, a light pink, and a darker pink, and then so forth, depending on how many ketones you're producing and how lazy your fatty liver. Now, a fatty liver itself, if you're at any stage of fatty liver, we got to reverse that first before you start producing a good ratio of ketones, and that happens very quickly on this primal eating lifestyle. But anyway. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see when you become anything that's 0.5 to 3 is where we want to be. That's the optimal. That's what we're getting at. 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. That's telling me that you're now starting to burn fat. Your body is starting to acclimate itself to burning fat. Now, the ketone strips, guys, is just a temporarily. That's just it doesn't really give me an accurate reading on the actual ketones that are in the blood. All that's telling me is that it's for the beginners. It's for the first 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how quickly we can get you guys to get into fat adaptation, where your body is now getting acclimated to burning fat. It's just giving me an idea. Because what's happening is when you're first starting out, and your liver starts to produce ketones, well, because you're at a darker color and you keep getting darker and darker, is your body is not acclimated, or your cells at the cellular level have not acclimated themselves to the ketones because they've never seen them, and they're not utilizing them. So you have 1,000 trillion cells in your body, okay? And all of a sudden, you're switching from burning carbohydrate, sugar, which your cells are going to absorb anyway, and that's what that's how the physiology of the body works. The cells will absorb the glucose for energy. Well, all of a sudden, you're depleting the liver completely of all carbs. Now your body's switching to burning fat, because that's all you have left, because that's what you're eating is fat. And the cells don't understand what's going on, and they're all freaking out, going, I've never had these ketones before. What do I do here? So it takes a little time for the cells at the cellular level to realize that these ketones are actually a better source of fuel than the glucose or the carbs you were eating. You see how that works? So it takes a little bit of time. And that's why the color on your ketone strips may stay dark for a little while. What that means is that as you're producing ketones, and because the cells at the cellular level, they're not really using them yet, your body has a safety mechanism to flush out the excess ketones that are in your blood, and that's it dumps it into the urine. That's what we're testing. So we're testing the overflow of ketones. Okay, well, the object is to eventually see that color strip start getting lighter and lighter and lighter. That's what we're looking for. And this is where sometimes the confusion is because people get so entrenched in the colors of their strips that as the strip starts to get lighter, because the body is now working more efficiently at the cellular level, they panic because they think they're no longer burning fat, and that's not true. The body is doing exactly what we want it to do. Okay, we want the cells, you got trillions of them, to start utilizing these ketones, and that's when you're going to start seeing the health benefits like clarity of the brain, your energy level is going to go up much, much higher. And you'll start actually burning some of that excess body fat that you've been storing for a long time. Or if you're a type 2 diabetic, you'll notice that your blood sugars will start to drop. That's exactly what we're looking for. So the first couple of weeks, 3 weeks, I have people do these ketone strips just to kind of give me an idea when they actually get started. But listen to what I'm saying here. Don't focus so much on the color of that. Don't focus on that it's not getting any darker. That's not what we want to focus on. All we're focusing on here is just to see when you're going to start to get in and how long it takes to get your body to start utilizing fat at its primary fuel. Well then, once we've gone through the beginning stage of the weight loss program and the body gets more and more efficient in utilizing the ketones, and those color strips start to get lesser and less, well then that means the body's starting to get a little more fat adapted. And now those of you that that are on my weight loss program, I've set you a training module on what your ultimate goal is. That is to get into fat adaptation. And what does that mean? And so if you need to go back and review fat adaptation, that's where Emily and I are at. We're rooted in it, and that's your ultimate goal. Okay, guys? So what's the next step here? So we've got the first primal beginning plan. You're finally showing you're burning fat as fuel because your liver's producing ketones, according to the strips. The strips are beginning to get lesser or lighter and lighter. And now it's time for you guys to move to the up to the next level, which I call my alternate day fasting protocol 1. And this is where we're going to combine intermittent fasting with the primal eating lifestyle to escalate the ketone levels and to escalate fat burning as well. And so now it's time to jump into the next level of monitoring. And this monitoring, and I'll have science. There's also science with this GKI reading, or the GKI and the ketone strips. I'll have science attached to this video in the description, along with my blog post explaining a little bit more about what is a ketogenic diet, or what is a primal eating lifestyle, and what is ketones, and how this all works. So it'll be in the description of this video. So, guys, so this is basically the breakdown on the different steps we're going to be leading into. So now we're going to go to the alternate day fasting protocol 1. And now you guys are ready to do the GKI monitoring system, which was developed by doctors who actually are using it to monitor their patients who have type 2 diabetes or cancer. There's actually a doctor by the name of Thomas Seyfield who actually uses these protocols in order to monitor his brain cancer patients. He's done some unbelievable research on brain cancer and tumors, and he's found a way, and he's got his research proving that how he can shrink brain tumor cancer just by changing their lifestyle to a higher fat diet and time restricted eating or intermittent fasting. And how do you monitor that? Well, he can monitor it with the GKI reading, because a GKI, what that means is it's a blood test where you test your own blood, and it gives you a level of your glucose, your sugar level, and it gives you a level of what your ketone levels are in your blood. That is the accurate way. That's the way we want to get to eventually, and that's where the second level, or the alternate day fasting protocol 1, starts to be effective, is to actually see what your levels are in your blood. Now there's a ratio we have to go by to put you in optimal, okay? And like I said, 0.5 to 3 is optimal, and that's where we want to be. 3.4, 3.5, somewhere in that range. 1.7 or 8, perfect. That's what we're looking for. But there's a ratio. And so I use that GKI monitoring system for different reasons. Now, Of course, I use it for what most of you are probably watching this want to know is how to lose that belly or body fat or hip fat. But I'm also using the GKI monitoring system for those of you with type 2 diabetes. Or if you have cancer, we need to keep that sugar level down to very, 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 very low. And there's a ratio for cancer patients who are trying to reverse cancer. And Dr. Boz, who has actually saved her mom's life by monitoring her mother's glucose level and ketone level, and that and was able to reverse and control the cancer where she's still alive today. So there's doctors that are now realizing that this is how you're going to actually fight cancer or type 2 diabetes. They are reversing it. So this is nothing new. It's been out there a while. You guys have seen some of the science that I've put out there about it. But anyway, and so then, you know, then when we get to the GKI, then we can really get an accuracy of where you're at. Now, what happens, like I said, I sent you guys I hope you watched it, I sent you guys a training module on our ultimate goal is to become fat adapted like Emily and I, which means we are very rooted in fat adaptation. Meaning our body prefers to burn fat as its primary fuel over glucose. Science has already told us that when you're burning glucose as your primary fuel, that's considered dirty fuel. The byproducts from burning glucose or carbohydrates is actually toxic. It's known as metabolic toxins. Okay, that's the byproduct. It makes the body very acidic. It's called dirty fuel. That's why they call it that. Now, when you've switched your body over to primarily burning fat, not only the fat from your food you're eating, but your own stored fat, science is saying that's called rocket fuel. It's the ketones is what's giving you the energy because the brain loves it. It's food for the brain. It's food for a lot of the organs in there. And it's also a way, it's a way for your body to actually slightly slow down appetite. It's an appetite depressant. So when you start to burn fuel, you're actually going to you have a lesser appetite. It depresses it because of certain hormones that are affected. And that's another topic, okay? But once you get to that environment, which is known as fat adaptation, and you're getting deeply rooted into it, that's when the magic starts. Now, you know, a lot of my clients or people will text me and say, you know, Bill, you talk about autophagy, you talk about how autophagy gets for anti-aging. You talk about autophagy, where science is showing autophagy actually puts you in a state where it's starving cancer, or it's in a state where your blood glucose level or your glucose levels are getting normal, and you've been a type 2 diabetes for years and years and years. You've been on medication, and now you're coming off your medication, and you talk a lot about that stuff. And how long does it all take? Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends on you. You know, how consistent are you with the meal plan, and how consistent are you with staying away from going out to dinner so much? See, that's another factor. You know, those of you that are looking to reverse type 2 diabetes or cancer, or if you're looking to lose that belly fat or body fat in a certain amount of time, you got to limit the amount of time you're going out to dinner, because that's a major factor. You have no idea the amount of sugar and carbs that are in the restaurant foods, even though you might be doing a primal eating menu or a keto menu thinking you're doing the right thing. You're not, because there's a lot of hidden stuff in there, guys. Okay? And so what happens is that the body changes again. When you're in a deep metabolic ketosis, or when your body is completely rooted in fat adaptation like we are, then the GKI reading is going to change again. And so, like I said, you can't get focused and so inundated on your ketone readings, because that's going to change again as you get to the next level and as you become fat adapted. And people get so focused on those ketones, they don't understand what they actually mean when you start getting less and less in fat adaptation rooted. Okay? That means that as we are now so acclimated to burning fat, that we are so rooted in fat adaptation now, that our body has switched over to a different, how can I put this, environment, okay? And so we'll exercise, we'll actually exercise, and if I do a GKI reading right after I'm done, it'll actually show that my ketone levels are much lower. And that's natural. Because why? Because we're exercising. The body wants the energy, right? So the ketones are going to be lower. But also what happens is now our body is more efficient. Our body is utilizing the ketones more efficiently. And not only are we using the ketones more efficiently, but we're also using free fatty acids to actually give our muscles energy, or to be able to use for our muscles. That's enough. I mean, we're not only using ketones, but we're now using free fatty acids from our own body fat and from the fat that we're eating to energize our muscles. And so because of this, your ketone levels aren't going to be as high, but that's okay. But see, it's still important to know what your ketone levels are and your sugar levels are, even though you're rooted fat adaptation, because you want to stay within a range of 0.5, 0.7, 0.8, 1.0 range. You still want to be in that range, but yet you don't care. I mean, the ketone readings at that point doesn't matter how high they are. That's not what really matters, because even though they may only be showing 0.7 or 0.8, you're still burning body fat, and you're still in a great environment of not just burning the body fat or maintaining whatever level you're at, but it's also keeping you in that really healthy environment of autophagy when you're doing the alternate day fasting. Because on the alternate day fasting, what science is now showing is that on the days that you're doing non-fasting, which we call more of our high-calorie days, we're adding a lot more calories to our day, to that day, a lot more, because we train hard and we're looking to put on lean muscle. But then on the fasting day, we're going into an environment known as autophagy, which is known to be magic as far as overall health, which is going to help you actually to slow premature aging. And then once you've lost all that body fat, you're going to have wrinkles, you're going to have saggy skin. Well, if you put yourself in autophagy throughout your fasting, because even on a non-fasting day, during that time when you're not eating, you're in some kind of autophagy. You're actually going to start eating up that saggy skin. That takes a little longer to happen, so you're going to actually eat up that saggy skin over time, like we have. You know, we're well over 60 years old, and we've lost a lot of body fat, both of us. And if you were to see our abs, you can see we've lost a lot. We've eaten up a lot of that saggy skin. And that's one of the magics of the alternate day fasting and the primal eating, because that's what science is showing us. Okay, and so I needed to do this video for my clients so they understand not to be so focused on the color or the amount of ketones they have at certain levels, and why it's very important to not to be focused, especially doing your strips. Because at first, yes, you're probably going to be high, okay? Then it's going to start lessening, and that's what I want. Now, some of you might be, let me drink some more of my coffee real quick. Emily and I today is actually our fasting day. So this is our normal, this is a 24-hour fast for us, so we won't have our first meal tonight till 6. That's our normal fasting day. We do it 3 days a week. And I have my black coffee 3 or 4 times during the day. This helps. I don't get hunger waves. We don't get hungry at all. So, but anyway, I just want you guys to understand that are on the strips to don't focus so much on that color. Now, some of you might be, you might be at a deeper color because for a period of time. Now, if it's too long, that's telling me you're not eating enough food. Okay, so on your non-fasting days, you need to eat more food. So if on your non-fasting day, just before, or say the next day you have, is your fasting day and you're going 20, I don't know, 18, 20, 22 or 20, 24 hours, and then you have your high-fat, good dietary high-fat meal that night, which has got a lot of fat, and then the next morning you do a ketone level and you're still in fat burning into a certain color, that's okay. But on your non-fasting day, if you check your ketones at your last meal of the day, just before you eat your last meal, and it's registering really high color, like a 4.0 or even a 5.0 or 6.0, and you've been doing this a while, you're not eating enough. And that's what it's telling me. You don't need to go that high consistently. You see what I'm saying here? I mean, 3.0, 0.5 to 3.0 is perfect. It's where you want to be. But at first you will be high, and that's okay. That's going to happen at first. But if it stays there for a while, that's telling me you're not eating enough food. Okay, so we need to work on that part. So I hope you understand what I'm saying about that. So you just on your non-fasting day, you just have to eat more food in your window there. And then, because your non-fasting day, you can have your first meal at 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, I don't really care. Get enough food in that day, even if they're small meals. I don't care that day. All right? Now, on the fasting day, you may only be able to go to 20 hours or 22 hours and then have 2 meals on. That's okay, as long as we're in that range of 0.5 to 3 on the ketone meter. That's okay. It just has to be adjusted to where you're feeling really good and what protocol works for you and your lifestyle. Okay. So guys, I hope you have a great day. I hope this video had some value to it, and now you fully understand what I'm doing, or why the ketone strips and why GKI readings are so important to me. Like I said, in the description of this video will actually be the blog post that I did explaining everything I'm doing here, and it also will show the science. Okay? Those of you that aren't on my YouTube channel, you can go to my YouTube channel, type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it, and there's all kinds of videos there. And especially, guys, if you're not on my group Facebook page, go to Weight Loss Made Easy and invite yourself and answer the 3 questions there, and I will approve it, because on that group site we have free downloads, we got free fat burning recipes, we got some free science about primal eating lifestyle and why it works so well, and the health benefits, and then we got some downloads on the importance of intermittent and prolonged fasting and what autophagy is, and the magic that autophagy brings to your overall health. Okay, guys? So, guys, like I said, hope you saw some value in this. Keep this in your file, in your computer, so in case you forget. Okay? You guys have a great day, and we'll see you at the next video. Bye.